morning, people. No company produces more light fixtures for the North American market than Acuity Brands. With over 30 brands and its stable of offerings, the company can provide solutions for the most selective lighting specifiers, some of the more complex lighting controls applications, while also providing abundant, good quality options for even the most cost-conscious of electrical contractors. So we're pleased to be joined today by the person who leads this charge, the president of Acuity Brands Lighting and Controls, Trevor Palmer. Trevor, hello, and thank you for joining us today for 5 big questions.
Hey, Al, it's great to be here with you. Thanks for the invitation.
Hey, Trevor, great to be with you, and thank you for spending some time with us today. You know, you've been in this president role now for about a year, and when Acuity Brands CEO Neil Ash appointed you, he praised your controls background, your technical expertise, and your spirit for innovation. How does that background help you and affect the way that you manage as the president of Acuity Brands Lighting?
Yeah, so good question, very interesting one. So I've spent 27 years in building technology, and I include kind of luminaires and lighting as kind of the fabric of the buildings we're in, or the spaces we occupy on a regular basis. So, you know, and there's been a variety of roles. So whether it's running the lighting controls business, which I did for 5 years here at Acuity, the lighting controls in luminaire technology, or whether it's being a systems integrator for building management systems, or running kind of mid-stage technology businesses, there are a couple of things that kind of all rang true in kind of the successful businesses that we ran. The first one is, you know, in product businesses, having an extremely high pace of new product innovation and new product vitality is extremely important, because what you're doing is you're actually leading the technology curve of whatever respective industry you're being. So, you know, for example, at Distech, it happened to be the Eclipse IP line of controllers that was kind of very innovative, leading edge, and it really led the industry through the transition to IP. And from a lighting perspective, lighting and lighting controls perspective, you know, the same kind of ingredients exist, right? So if you think through how we're reinventing portfolios, and I can give kind of a few examples, whether it's, you know, embedding more technology in luminaires themselves and making them look more like a lighting and control appliance all as one. We've spent, you know, endless tireless hours doing that, and customers are voting with their wallets, right? Or whether it's introducing, you know, basically reinventing product categories, like with Stack, or with the CPHB, kind of the industrial, a very small footprint industrial luminaire that is easier for contractors, easier for electricians, easier to transport, et cetera, et cetera. So it's reinventing these product categories and doing at an accelerated, rapid pace that really allows us to kind of lead the industry.
Well, that's fantastic. And yeah, the product design and all those other things you mentioned that go into it are certainly important. And one thing that's affected nearly all lighting stakeholders over the last year is supply chain. What does the supply chain landscape look like to you right now as we talk in early February? And is the worst behind us?
Well, I would say that I'm not an economist, and so I'll give everybody that disclosure for the lighting industry. And we're all reading the same tea leaves. Right, so it's hard to drift past a news program or a newspaper or a show where they're talking about you know, shortages of electronic components, or the prices of commodity, or, you know, what's happening in freight. So I still believe that you know, we are going to see some loosening of this. It's just a matter of when. That's the obvious answer to the question. My feeling is we're probably going to see some relief the back end of this calendar year and into the first half of next year. So I wouldn't say we're in the thick of it, but we're certainly getting better as a business. Acuity is at kind of managing through it, if you will.
Sure, and spinning off of that supply chain discussion, you folks recently reported that you know, 16% of your finished goods come from Asia. Over half come from, I think, 7 maquiladoras in Mexico. And when you look at acquisitions that have happened in 2021, one of the biggest, if not the biggest in North America, was your company's acquisition of OSRAM DS, their digital systems business unit for North America, which includes mainly LED drivers and LED modules, which might be a tip towards, you know, you folks becoming even more vertically integrated. Is that a trend that might continue, this vertical integration where you can potentially supply yourselves with various LED parts and pieces?
Yeah, so what I would say is we're obviously very pleased with the acquisition of OSRAM. It's gone very smoothly. We were happy to welcome all the associates to us, and we're very pleased with kind of the outcomes we're beginning to drive. It's having a meaningful impact on our product vitality efforts. So going back to kind of leading the technology curve of the industry and reinventing the portfolios faster. And also our ability to kind of service. But I want to be clear: vertical integration is only one aspect of this acquisition as kind of we move forward. We're still a meaningful customer to many suppliers of LED modules or drivers or what have you. So the key behind OSRAM is really giving us more control over the technology that goes inside the luminaire itself. And it allows us to stitch together more elegant control solutions that work right out of the box, right? So, look for more things to come from us.
Excellent, excellent. Let's shift to kind of customer-facing markets. As the world has shifted from maybe trying to end COVID to maybe figuring out how to best live with COVID, we see that the Leducation conference and trade show set for next month in New York, that multiple brands of Acuity Brands are going to be exhibiting. And as of right now, with LightFair in Las Vegas about 4 months away, you folks aren't cited yet as an exhibitor. What is your strategy relating to conferences and trade shows and exhibitions? And will we see you in Las Vegas at LightFair?
Wow. So like many companies, we've been evaluating our sales and marketing strategies and activities over the past 18 months with the pandemic. And we found some new ways and kind of methods for engaging with kind of associates and customers, suppliers, channel partners, et cetera, others in the industry. Moving on, we're always evaluating the effectiveness and efficiency and investments we're making related to the various ways we want to reach out to the industry, right? And see what works best. Given all of this, we've made the decision that exhibiting at LightFair this year in 2022 is not currently aligned to our strategy or business. Leducation is still on the list. It's a local regional show. We've signed up. We've participated in years, and it's heavily aligned to obviously some of the activity we've had in the Northeast over the past year or so.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you and all of your brands and representatives at Leducation next month. And when we consider your agents also from that perspective, you folks, of course, from a Leducation perspective, represented by Illuminations Inc. in New York City, but also just more broadly, when you look at your independent sales network, which make up a very large portion of your overall sales, harkening back to that very famous business book from decades ago, Good to Great, when you compare the top performing agents to the good performing agents who are good but not great, what characteristics do those top performers have as an agency?
I would say that I wouldn't necessarily categorize or characterize any of our independent sales network, and kind of bifurcate, right? What I would say is that not all agents are created equal. And the reason for that is not every region in the country is the same. And so you'll have some agents that are in top 10 markets that have energy codes and have strong architectural brand preference. And those agents need to have a different set of expertise than someone who is operating maybe in a mid-market region that is more active in the schools. So, we're pleased to have the #1 agency in all markets. And we're going to continue kind of building on the heritage, some of which have extended beyond 50 years in working together as partners in kind of growing the business. And I would say that our success is mutually dependent. So it's in their interest, it's in our agency's interest to make sure the products are chosen, and it's in our best interest to give them new products that deserve to be chosen.
No, exactly. And yeah, that's excellent insights. And thank you for that. And my 5 questions are up, Trevor, but I got to tell you, before we started this official interview, I discovered that you happen to live in a community where one of your main competitors happens to be headquartered. So as you're milling about town at the hardware store or grabbing a bite to eat at Palmer's restaurant, do you ever overhear something that you probably shouldn't?
Well, I do go to Palmer's restaurant, and I don't know what it is. It must be something in the water in Peachtree City. So I try to shut off and close my ears when I go out to restaurants, and focus on my wife and son, and kind of entertaining them over the weekends and in the evenings. So Peachtree City is a great place to live, and we really enjoy it.
Well, I agree. As a former resident myself, I would attest to that. And Trevor, thank you so much for sharing all these insights. And thank you for putting up with my last question of lunacy. And thank you for joining us today for 5 Big Questions.
Hey, great. Pleasure to be here, Al. And I hope we do it again soon.
Hey there, we really enjoyed that discussion. We hope that you did as well. Be sure to click that big LED logo next to me. And what that'll do is subscribe you to our YouTube channel so you don't miss the next 5 Big Questions interview. And YouTube subscribers always receive an early preview to the next interview before we even post it on the Inside Lighting website. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.